right promptly at 7, so that way we can get through everything and have plenty of time to schmooze afterwards. So the first song that we're gonna do right now is a nigun. So if those of you who know what a nigun is, it's a wordless melody. So you don't need to worry about whether you have any lyrics in front of you or anything like that. You already know the words. It's lai lai lai. So so please join me. This is Into the West nigun. Lai la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 yai la lai 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 la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai la lai 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 la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai lai 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 yai la lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai la lai 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 lai.
Well, that was beautiful, Cantor. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom, dear friends. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, it's so great to be together tonight on this summer Sabbath evening. We hope you're having a good week, all things considered. Hope you've experienced moments of goodness this week and some blessings as well. May tonight be such a moment for all of us. The Shabbat, we're going to invite in moments of sacredness, invite in little moments of joy and warmth and love and friendship. So tonight we celebrate Shabbat, of course, with music and with prayer and with Jewish wisdom, and most of all, just being connected with each other, Kabbalat Panim, seeing and receiving each other's faces. So let us sing together now in joy.
So this next song we're going to do is Hine Matov, which I'm sure you all know the words to. How good it is, how sweet it is for us all to dwell together in whatever capacity that is, be it virtual or if you're together with people you're with in your family. How good that is. Hine Matov U'Manayim Shabbat Gam Yachad, 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 Hine Matov U'Manayim Shabbat Gam Yachad. לפנייך, שבדרכם יחד.
Thank you, Cantor. That was so beautiful. What a great way to bring in Shabbat. And oh, another great way to make our celebration special is if you haven't opened up your chat box, just click on the bottom of the screen and click that chat button, and then feel free to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom or comment in the chat box, and we'll all participate together. Well, we're going to turn now to page 6 in our prayer booklet, another great song to welcome Shabbat. This is a classic. Cantor Alyssa taught me that this Shalom Aleichem, this melody was written by a rabbi named Israel Goldfarb. And Max Rosen, you're going to love this, and I think the arts children will love this too, and anybody who has an upcoming bar bat mitzvah ceremony. According to Cantor Alyssa, Rabbi Goldfarb is credited with being the person who came up with the idea of the bar mitzvah party and the bat mitzvah party. So we want to bring in Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. We invite in the messengers of peace to make our Shabbat all the more joyful tonight.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeichem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai.
Well, we're going to make it official with these beautiful Sabbath songs to receive Shabbat and Kabbalat Shabbat. We are now going to bring in the light and the warmth and the joy of Shabbat and make it official by inviting the Arts family to lead us in the Sabbath candle lighting. So there they are. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. We want to introduce the Arts family to everybody. That's this Andy, and that was Hannah, and there is Jack and Aiden and Shanna, the whole family. Hello.
Anna.
Hey, Shanna, how are you? Good. So you guys, ooh, who's lighting the candles? Jack, are you lighting the candles?
Yeah, looks like Jack's doing it, and Hannah's doing the prayer, I think.
You know, the one who scorched your hair.
Awesome. Well, we're on page 9, everybody, and we'd like to invite everybody in our temple community to, if you have candles near you, to also light your Shabbat candles with the Arts family.
Okay, you ready? Yeah, you can read that. You ready, Shaq? You ready? Okay, go ahead, Hannah. Yeah. Oh, here.
ברוך אתה אלוהים
Eloheinu
מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו
וציוונו לחג נר של Shabbat.
Amen.
Hey, Jack.
Well
we're not
done.
doing a great
Well
job
done,
lighting our
guys.
candles, though.
fan is blowing out my flame.
Well, it's a new move, so we're still working on
why'd you
that.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time, Jack. We got trick Shabbat candles like that in the sanctuary, too.
fan doesn't go well with fire.
Yeah, fans don't go well with fire.
Well,
Mom tested
fans
that
burn.
logic.
You
Fans
got
burn.
it. Thank you. Thank you all. Beautiful. And Cantor Alyssa is going to lead us all in the chant.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Well, thanks again to the Arts family for lighting the Shabbat candle. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And speaking of the Arts family, we come now to the family blessing. So we invite you all to gather with your family who is there in your home as we ask God's blessings upon all of our families and all the world, blessings of peace, wholeness, and fulfillment for all.
May God bless you and keep you. May He shine His face upon you and grace you. May He lift His presence unto you and grant you peace. May God bless you and keep you. May she shine her face upon you and grace you. May she lift her presence unto you and grant you peace. And grant you peace.
Well, Shabbat is now officially here, and it's so good to be together tonight. And let's, Jason, if you'll bring up page 16, we're going to jump forward, then jump back in our service. I thought it'd be helpful tonight for all of us to share in this prayer for health and wholeness with what's going on in the world and now the spiking and the surging of the coronavirus. You know, it's so important for us all to stay healthy and well during this challenging time. So we're going to join together in this. I'm going to lead the prayer, and but you know, please join it at home while you're muted as we pray. Dear God, you have taught us, guard yourselves well, take good care of your lives. Your word calls to us. Do no harm to yourself. Do not weaken or exhaust yourself. In gratitude for the gift of our bodies, we pray for renewed health and replenished strength. May caring for our bodies become our daily practice. May we be attentive to our need for proper food and sleep and exercise. Let no injury come to others through our acts or our failures to act. But let our mitzvah be this, to build a just society in which care is a birthright and the blessing of health, the responsibility of all. In that spirit we pray, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. We praise you, Holy One, for wondrous acts of creation and healing. So with that in mind, we're now going to jump back in our prayer book to page 14. And we come to the affirmation of the Jewish faith, the watchword of our people, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
Well, you know what comes after the Shema? It is the V'ahavta, and we are so honored tonight to be joined by Mr. Max Rosen as Max leads us on page 15. Let's see, where are you, Max? There he is. Hey, Max. Oh, good. You've got your sifron from your bar mitzvah preparation. So for people who don't know, Max became a bar mitzvah this past November, and he was awesome. He led the congregation so beautifully, and that is the prayer book that he studied from and that he used, called a sifron. It's like a little safer prayer booklet. So Max, whenever you're ready, we'd be so honored to have you lead us in the V'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם. בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
All right, Max. Let's hear it for Max, everybody. Yasher Koach, Kol HaKavod, way to go. That was wonderful, Max. You still got it. You still got it. That was fantastic. Thank you. Thanks so much. You having a good summer?
Yeah.
Yeah? I know you usually like to go to summer camp. Are you doing a virtual summer camp?
I'm doing online, like summer school.
Okay, you're doing summer school. What are you studying online?
Personal finance and renewable technologies.
Whoa, personal finance and renewable technologies. That's awesome. All right, maybe you can help me with my taxes. I still have a couple of days to get them in. Well, it's good to see you, Max. Thank you so much for leading the V'ahavta. It was a pleasure. Have a great summer and best to your family, and join us again. Join us again. We'd love to have you lead us again. Thank you. All right. Well, dear friends, you may have heard the old joke about the Jewish telegram. The classic Jewish telegram is composed of only 5 words. Start worrying, details to follow. You heard this one? Start worrying, details to follow. Does that resonate with you right now? It sure does with me. By the way, I do believe that worry and anxiety are built into our Jewish DNA. For those worriers among us, take comfort. We do come by it naturally. You know, I think it comes from hundreds of years of persecution and anti-Semitism and expulsions from various countries and pogroms and, of course, the Shoah, the horrors of the Holocaust. Yes, anxiety and worry, I do believe, are part of the Jewish DNA for good reason. Lately, have you been feeling more anxious because of the spike and the surge in COVID-19 cases here in California and around the country? Is anybody feeling it? I'm looking around, I'm seeing a few nods. Dr. Arts feels it, and Beth and Joyce and a number of people. Yeah, a number of people I see. Yes, I know that I am too. It's cause for worry now, right? We were all hoping that the illness and fatalities from the coronavirus would have diminished by now. And surely it is in certain parts of the world and certain parts of our country. It is diminishing, it's flattening. But as we know too well, recently it's gone up in many places, such as here in California. So I'm looking for some hope. And I imagine you are too. I'm looking for some resilience. I'm looking for some inspiration until the scientists and the docs can create the vaccine and the treatments. I imagine you are too. So I don't think it will surprise you to learn that I have found that hope and that resilience and that inspiration within Judaism. It's here within Judaism. You see, throughout Jewish history, our people have been renewed and positively transformed time and again after we've experienced adversity and after we've experienced devastation. Over the past several Shabbats, we've been talking about the sacred and beautiful city of Sfat in Israel. Jason, I got another curveball for you. You got it ready? See, I didn't tell Jason. We spoke before. I didn't even tell him. But we've been talking about the beautiful city of Sfat in Israel. We can picture it. It's wonderful. And in that city of Sfat, oh, there it goes. Look at that. Look at that. It's inspirational just looking at that city of Sfat. And a number of our congregants have been there when they've traveled to Israel, up above the Galilee, up above the Kinneret, the Sea of Galilee, overlooking the valley there and up on the hill. So in this beautiful, beautiful city, and Jason, we can take that down now and keep it in our minds. In that beautiful city, we've been talking about the incredible Jewish creativity of Sfat residents like Shlomo Alkabetz, who wrote Lecha Dodi, which we sang last week and we sing many weeks, and his brother-in-law, Moshe Cordovero, who was the prolific writer of Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. We've mentioned the towering figure of Rabbi Isaac Luria, affectionately referred to as the Holy Ari. Those of you who know your Hebrew and your animals in Hebrew, Ari means the lion. Yes, Cantor Alyssa's got it. So Rabbi Isaac Luria is affectionately known as the Holy Lion. He gave the whole world the concept of Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam, the Jewish and humanity's mission to repair and heal this broken world. And ask any of our older religious school students. We can ask Max Rosen, which Jewish value or idea do you think is central to living a Jewish life? And most of our older students, including Max, might answer tzedakah, right? Righteous giving, and tikkun olam are the most important value in Judaism. So we can thank the genius of Rabbi Isaac Luria for that. And we can thank Shlomo Alkabetz for Lecha Dodi and Moses Cordovero for all the great Kabbalistic thought. This all took place in the 16th century, and that was directly after the Jews were expelled from Spain in 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So think about this, and this is true. No Spanish expulsion of Jews, no Tzfat Jewish Renaissance 50 years later, and no concept of Tikkun Olam from Rabbi Isaac Luria. Judaism took tragedy and transformed it into spiritual genius. And closer to home, the pogroms of Eastern Europe 300 to 400 years later led many of our ancestors to come to these American shores. Raise your hand if your ancestors come from Eastern Europe. Right? Let's look around. Look at a number of people whose ancestors come from Eastern Europe. Not everybody, but many have come from Eastern Europe. Those pogroms of Eastern Europe, that persecution, led many of our ancestors to come to these American shores to start a new and a better life. And they helped to build an American Judaism, an American Jewish community that has been one of the most prolific and most creative and successful that the world has ever seen. Again, from persecution and pain came a renewal of Jewish life. Now, at the end of this month, Jewish people throughout the world will commemorate one of the saddest days on the Jewish calendar. Traditionally, this day is the saddest day of the Jewish year. And it's called, and many of you may know, it's called Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the Jewish month of Av. This month that we'll commemorates the destruction of the first and second temples in Jerusalem. Now, you may know too, you may not, Tisha B'Av also marks, in addition to the destruction of the first and second temples in Jerusalem, it marks the First Crusade in 11th century Europe, the expulsion of Jews from England in 1290, as well as the expulsion of Jews from Spain in 1492. All this Jewish source, and then some, is commemorated on Tisha B'Av, a fast day similar to Yom Kippur. Now, when we consider the cataclysmic destruction of the Second Temple by the Romans in the year 70, we'd be wise to ask ourselves, I want you to ask yourself, how did the Jewish people respond back then to all that devastation and destruction? How did our ancestors respond to the destruction of our holy temple in Jerusalem and the burning of our holiest city, Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, and the deaths of tens of thousands of Jewish people? How did they respond? The majority of Jewish institutions of Jewish life, the sacred temple, the Jewish priesthood, the sacrificial form of worship that had existed for hundreds of years and was all outlined in the Torah as the way the Jewish people were to live their lives, that was all destroyed in the year 70 by the Romans. But was Judaism destroyed along with it? Of course not. We're still here. We're still here. The brilliant sages and rabbis of that time transformed and renewed Judaism in an approach that lasts to this very day. When the temple was destroyed and it seemed like all was lost, they created the Talmud as the complement to the Torah and as the user's guide to Jewish life and practice to this day. The brilliant sages and rabbis of that time replaced the priesthood, the Kohanim, with the Jewish scholar. They replaced animal and grain sacrifices in the temple with prayer and with study in the synagogue, which we do to this day. And they took the beautiful music of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem and they brought it to the synagogue and they brought it to the home. So time and again throughout history, the Jewish people have undergone tragedy and adversity, and we've responded with creativity and with strength and with transformation and with renewal. And one need only consider the unfathomable calamity of the Holocaust and the Jewish response. The Jewish response to the unimaginable, something else that we dreamed of for 1900 years. The Jewish response to the Holocaust was the creation of the modern state of Israel, a miracle in our lifetime. That's the Jewish response to pain and adversity. Now, during this High Holy Days this year, I intend to talk about another response to adversity and suffering and trauma that's called post-traumatic growth. You may have heard of post-traumatic stress. I'm going to talk about post-traumatic growth. It's something that most all of us can cultivate to respond to the stresses and difficulties and sufferings in our lives right now. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, please know that the modern scientific study of post-traumatic growth has been practiced by Judaism and other religions for thousands of years. And I do believe that we Jewish folks are expert at it. So we'll talk more about that in the fall. And in the meantime, as a temple community, we'll be commemorating Tisha B'Av at the end of this month on Wednesday night, July 29th at 7 p.m. So please join Cantor Alyssa and me and your temple community for that. And in the meantime, I want to wish and pray and hope that each of us find ways to renew ourselves at this time and to be hopeful and resilient and to be healthy as we continue to face the many challenges and suffering caused by this pandemic. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi. So at this point in the service, I would like to invite you to turn to Hashkivenu, which you should find on page 17 in your booklet. Hashkivenu, of course, being our nighttime prayer that kind of draws us in towards comfort, uncertain times, especially in the darkness at night. We really need to draw inwards for some comfort. So I'd like to invite you, if you feel so comfortable, if you have people near you, to put your arms around them, if you feel comfortable doing that. Also, if you want to create the illusion of putting your arms around your fellow Zoomers, you can reach your arms out wide, and feel free to do that and sway along to Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'habiteinu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'habiteinu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeitzenu Uvoenu Lechaim u'shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'habiteinu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'habiteinu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'habiteinu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'habiteinu malkeinu lechaim.
Thank you, Cantor. Thank you so much. Thank you. You notice Cantor Alyssa was sharing with us too when at the beginning of July that one of her spiritual practices at night, like the Hashkivenu prayer, which is traditionally said at night, sung at night, Cantor Alyssa's spiritual practice is to say prayers at night before she goes to bed and say the Shema and think about people that she cares about who are in need of strength and healing, and also just to spend the nighttime in prayer. And so we invite each one of you at this time to spend a few moments in your very own personal and silent prayer and contemplation on this evening of Shabbat.
if you're concluded with your personal prayers and meditations, you'll find Shalom Rav on page 19 on your booklet. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Well, we now turn to page 22 in our prayer booklet, page 22. As we get ready for the Misha Berach prayer, we're going to do a two-part Misha Berach tonight. Our first part is going to be a prayer for healers and a prayer for essential workers and people who are going into work and putting themselves at risk to care for others, whether it's through healthcare or it's through grocery stores or restaurants or any type of area that is any type of job that is caring for people at this time. So Jason, I don't know if you have this. I called an audible. I felt it was appropriate tonight. So Jason, I don't know if you have the prayer for healers, but probably not because I didn't send it to him. But I'd like everybody, I think, just to listen. And Jason, if you do happen to find it somewhere in your Google Drive, feel free to put it up there. But if not, I encourage everybody just to listen to the prayer and send your healing love for and prayers for the folks that we're talking about. You did find it. Look at that. He's amazing. Let's hear it for Jason. So Misha Berach Avotenu v'imotenu. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless all those who put themselves at risk to care for the sick, physicians and nurses and orderlies and technicians and home health aides, EMTs and pharmacists, hospital social workers and respiratory therapists, all the people who are essential workers, who are putting themselves at risk for the care and the nourishment and the sustenance of others. We bless God, dear God, bless all of those who navigate the unfolding dangers of the world each day to tend to those they have sworn to help. Bless them in their coming home and bless them in their going out. Ease their fear, sustain them, source of all breath, healer of all beings, protect them and restore their hope. Strengthen them, and may they bring strength. Keep them in health, that they may bring healing and wholeness. Help them know again a time when they can breathe without fear. Bless the sacred work of their hands. May this plague pass from among us speedily and in our days. And together we say, Amen. And we're going to ask God's blessing and healing power and strength also now for all the people that we know and care about who are in need of healing of body and a healing of spirit. And we now join in the Misha Berach prayer of healing in the middle of page 22.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
Well, at this time, we invite you to please put in the names of people that you know and care about who are in need of healing. If you'll put their names in the chat box, and we're thinking of all of them, our prayers for all of them. We ask God's blessing upon all of them. And as we continue to put their names in the chat box, we're also, Jason, let's also list all of these temple members who are in need of healing. All of these family members who are in need of healing. And I'm thinking, of course, of my mom, Marcia Schechter. And we're thinking of all of our family members who are in need of healing. And we also think all of our friends and coworkers who are in need of healing. As we now continue our prayer of healing together.
Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We pray that they are all healed. Well, friends, as you know, Jewish worship is never complete until we think of people that we've loved and lost who have passed away but remain very much with us in our hearts and minds as an abiding blessing, as an eternal presence to us in our hearts and minds and souls. As I mentioned the name of a loved one who has passed, I invite you to please stand, and then we'll all join together in the Kaddish prayer of healing. This Shabbat, we remember Eugene Gans. We remember Stephen Strauss and Donald Allen Pocock, Susan Goldsmith, Cecilia Carpenter. We remember Alan Loibin, Patricia Jacobson, Florence Schwartz, Claire Cohen. We remember Peggy Nichols, Lance Gershon, and Simone Roman, and Debbie Blake, Rachel Gottlieb, Rabbi Marvin Gross, Susan Solomon, Letitia Sierra. We remember Asher Fawcett and Marilyn Roberts. And for those who are observing Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one that is commemorated this week, we remember William Aberman, Charlotte Christie. We remember Edward Cornell. And we remember Herman Glazer and Dana Haskin. We remember Betty Heller, Etta Kays, Shirley Krellenstein, Edward L. Key, Frida Klein. We remember Lionel Lambert and Harold Marcus, Robert Myers, Arthur Miller, Sarah Muskis, Nelita Renskoff, Simon Sonnenschein, Norman Strauss, Bonnie Van Allen, Copel Bloom, Jack M. Bayless, Theodore M. Brastoff, Melvin Fields, David I. Kirschbaum, Michael Lewis Staff, Rose Lewis, Solomon Levy, Rose Weinberg, and David Solomon Schwartz. And at this time, we also have a number of folks have been doing, we invite you to mention the name of a loved one who has passed in the chat box that you're thinking about this Shabbat, as we remember them all and we thank God that they were all with us. And we turn now to page 24 in our prayer booklet, as we now thank God for their presence with the Kaddish prayer. Together we pray, Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Bialma divarach ilute v'yamlich malchute, B'chayechon v'yomechon, U'v'chaye d'kol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'bizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei al-maya, Yitparach v'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei d'kudesha berichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechemata, Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mroma, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
And please be seated, everybody.
We're going to continue right where we left off. Oseh Shalom at the bottom of the Kaddish prayer, our prayer for peace, which it always makes sense to kind of come towards the conclusion of things with the prayer for peace. So please join me, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom b'mroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Thank you, Cantor. Well, at this time, we are very honored to call upon our Executive Vice President here at Temple Sinai, Mr. Dan Heller.
Thank you, Rabbi, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone. In these turbulent times, it's nice to be able to greet you. And Rabbi, thank you for the uplifting service, and Cantor as well with song. We've got a few announcements this evening. Many of them are in the temple calendar, which you can access online. But I will start by saying that Carol Cornell is hosting the Oneg this evening, honoring the art site of her father, Herman Glazer, and her husband, Edward Cornell. In terms of some announcements, on July 11th, tomorrow, at 10:30 a.m., there's the virtual Minyan and Torah study. On July 13th, that would be Monday, there's the Temple Sinai Book Club at noon. Yay, Book Club. And at 7 p.m., there's a Schmooze and Zoom. On July 14th, there's the La Dorvador meeting at 5 p.m. And on July 16th at 1 p.m. in the afternoon is another Schmooze and Zoom. Those are the announcements that I have so far. Rabbi, if I missed anything, feel free to jump in. But anyway, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Dan. And hi, Debbie. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Dan. That was wonderful. Yeah, you got most everything. I just want to mention something that we're not doing in case people were wondering. Our weekly spiritual nourishment and connection will be on hiatus for the rest of July. That Tuesday night program that we do at 7 o'clock will be resuming in August, that first Tuesday in August. So join us for spiritual nourishment and connection at that first Tuesday in August at 7 p.m. and we're going to start up again. And then just to let everybody know with spiritual nourishment and connection, as we get closer to the High Holy Days, we're going to be focusing our spiritual nourishment and connection on preparing for the High Holy Days and looking at Jewish teachings and Jewish wisdom and stories that can lead us into the High Holy Days and make them all the more meaningful. So look for those programs of spiritual nourishment and connection beginning in August. And then also, as I'd mentioned, just to reiterate, we are going to be commemorating Tisha B'Av on Wednesday, July 29th at 7 p.m. So Jason will be sending out more information. Please join Cantor Listen, myself, and your temple community for that commemoration. It's going to last less than an hour. So please join us if you're available that Wednesday night, the last Wednesday in July at 7. And Cantor Listen, I want to announce, along with Jason and the whole temple leadership, we are having a new program in our new virtual temple community. I'm thinking of the Arts family and maybe some folks younger than the Arts family. It's called Kids Shabbat at Home. So we're going to do a once a month Kids Shabbat at home. So Hannah, you won't be alone. You won't be alone and the only young Jewish girl in the Zoom room at that time. So that's going to be once a month. We're going to start it this month, Friday, July 31st. It's at 5 o'clock. So we're going to start Shabbat, Kids Shabbat at Home, Friday, July 31st at 5 p.m. We're going to go about 30 minutes. It's not going to be too long to give families then enough time to have dinner afterwards, and then Cantor and I to have dinner afterwards, and then join everybody for the 7 o'clock regular service. So please join us for that if you have children or grandchildren who are age 1 day to 3rd grade. They are most welcome. And if you have kids older than that, they're welcome too. So, so Dan, thank you again. And thank you all. Cantor, you've got your Kiddush cup ready? Or we have one more?
Can I just make one more little announcement?
Sure, Maggie.
Carol Cornell is graciously hosting tonight's virtual Oneg, but we don't have anyone hosting for the next few weeks. So if you are interested in doing that, please let me know. Very simple. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Maggie. And by the way, the other thing you can let Maggie know too, Maggie, we may as well say this now. Maggie is also coordinating our candle lighting honors and our Via Hafta honors during our 7 o'clock Shabbat service. So if you are interested in lighting Shabbat candles for us or chanting the Via Hafta, please contact Maggie. And for some of you folks, Maggie's going to be contacting you to invite you to do it. So thank you, Maggie, for all that you do with that. And let's see, Cantor, you got your Kiddush cup, your Kiddush glass tonight?
I had to put another coaster over it to protect it from the fruit flies, but yes, I've got it. So if everyone, I want to invite you to grab your Kiddush cup, your grape juice and wine. Join me in the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. L'chaim.
L'chaim, l'chaim. All right. All right, Cantor, you've got a special closing song for us tonight.
Yes. You'll find Adon Olam. I think we'll put the words up there, but if you prefer to look out of your booklet, it'll be right at the end. Adon Olam, and I may have mentioned this before, but there are many, many melodies you can use for Adon Olam. This one may be familiar to some people. I don't know what to call it, who's it by. I've just heard it a lot of times and I really enjoy it. So if you happen to know, by the way, whom I can attribute this particular Adon Olam to, feel free to put it in the chat because I would love to know. But in the meantime, please join me, Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Ala B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kitlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu haya, vehu hopeh, vehu yiyeh b'tifara, vehu yiyeh b'tifara, vehu echad v'yein sheni, vehamshilo lehachbira, v'li reishit, v'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, vehu echad eli v'chai go'ali, v'tzur chavli v'yein tzara, vehu nisi u'manosli, v'nat kosi v'yom ekra, v'nat kosi v'yom ekra, Beyado apiruchi, v'yeti shan ve'aira, ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, Adonai li ve'lo ira.
Thank you, Cantor. That was beautiful. Thanks to all who participated tonight, the Arts family and Max Rosen and Dan and Carol and Maggie and of course Cantor and Jason Marks, our communications director. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Thanks to all for participating tonight and being here tonight. So Jason, let's give everybody a chance to wish each other Shabbat Shalom before Oneg.
I'm a little
Don't say that. Say that.
nervous about how this goes.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Have you for a minute.